My name's Sarah, and I am loved, I am worthy, and I am valued in every single aspect of my life. And that is just amazing to say out loud. Hi, this is my testimony. My name's Sarah. I'm 48 years old, and I was born again in February 2024. So my life has not been easy like a lot of people's. There was a lot of abuse from being quite young, which had a knock-on effect to me getting older in my own relationships. I was looking to be accepted and wanted, and to be fair, I was just in one bad relationship after another. Started suffering with body dysmorphia from around the age of 12. So never really liked me looking in a mirror per se. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of people been worse, but it's not been easy. Not been easy at all. So my first marriage, I had 3 children, and that for me was my happy ever after. But it wasn't to be, as he decided my friends were better company than I was. So that didn't turn out too great. My second marriage, I knew wasn't right, but that ended in my ex-husband getting arrested, as there was a lot of physical and mental abuse in that relationship. So things went on from there. I've always thought I was a good mum. I've got 5 wonderful children who I absolutely adore, but drugs took a big part of my life socially. Not addicted, but socially I would take them to forget things, to just not remember things. I would drink heavily. I would be what I would call a binge drinker. So when I drank, and it could be anything, mixing drinks whatsoever, and I would look for attention, which I know was wrong, and I even knew it then, but that was the person I was, with the knock-on effect of all the abuse, psychologically, mentally and physically and sexually. So the person I wasn't entirely at all happy with, but I carried on. I've always worked hard, and I just always, I knew that God was there, but I kept turning away, kept thinking that I didn't want to give in. I wasn't going to be controlled. I wanted to find my own way, trying to be this strong woman, which was a massive mistake. But then 7 years ago, I met the guy that I'm going to marry in 5 weeks, who is absolutely amazing. He is a wonderful, wonderful stepfather and granddad to our grandchildren. He's absolutely fantastic. And I started having more and more questions, but only it all came to fruition last year, when I went and had my hair done by Laura. And I don't know, well, I do know, because I felt very comfortable. I was aware that Laura was a Christian, so I knew these things, but I felt very comfortable. And whenever I went and sat in the chair, it was like I could not stop asking questions, just could not stop talking about Jesus and asking things about the Bible, and it all sort of made sense. Just all of a sudden, things in my head just clicked. I didn't realise how much I was changing, but Jason said every time I came home there was a difference. I'd changed a bit. I seemed mellower. So me not realising, but wanting to know these more and more questions, kept going for my hair done, asking these things. and Laura told me about Holy and Beloved that she was starting, which I was really intrigued about, but because I was very unconfident, didn't like mixing with people I didn't know. I was very anxious about going. So 2 weeks before that first meeting that I went for my hair done, and we were just sat talking, and I basically just said to Laura, so how do I do it then? How do you become a Christian? And Laura asked me to say the prayer of salvation, and I just uncontrollably burst into tears. Even I just did not know what was happening, but it felt right. Even though I was crying, it was a good crying. And I felt very hot. There's a lot of times I feel very hot in ways as well. But it all seemed right. And then I went home and told Jason, and I was so excited, but I was like, I don't know if I did it right, and did I do this, did I do that, until the first Holy and Beloved meeting that I went to, like a little scared rabbit in headlights, and literally got ushered into the church by Laura, and I just went and sat in a corner because I was so anxious about these women that I'd met, bearing in mind women have not necessarily been nice to me in my past, bullying, etc. at school, women friend groups, very cliquey, they can be quite nasty and, you know, gossipy and calling names, things like that's the experiences I'd had. So I was like, oh, what have I let myself in for, basically? So, and that was the day that God didn't just knock on the door. He literally threw the doors open wide and said, this is your time. This is what you're going to do. And Julie and Laura prayed over me, and again I was just uncontrollably crying. I felt like the biggest weight had literally been lifted off my shoulders. I can't even begin to explain properly how that felt. But then after they prayed for me, Laura took me to one side and we did the salvation prayer again, and to be fair, that was just amazing. I went home, I told Jason I was so excited, and he was so supportive. So another thing that concerned me about becoming a Christian was that I like to give everything my best, and I don't want to let God down in any way. But I was so concerned on the forgiveness, because one of the things I spoke to Laura about was there's things I don't think genuinely that I could ever forgive. And I spoke to Laura about this in detail. And again, it's with abuse, different forms of abuse. And I genuinely said, I don't think that's anything I can ever do. And she explained to me about the forgiveness isn't always that you have to ring or tell that person that you have forgiven them. You are forgiving them for yourself as well, to unburden yourself and to show that you can move on and forgive that person, for they know not what they do. That took a lot of sinking in for me. But how Laura helped me was, she said, just once try and say their name and that you forgive them. And I thought, oh, I really struggled. So I went home and I was upstairs on my own just thinking, and it must have took me a good 5 minutes to get the words out my mouth, but I did it. And then I did it again. And it got easier, but not just because I've been saying it, because I felt it. And I could say, I forgive you for what you did. I forgive you for what you did. You know, now I can say it without even thinking about it. And I have actually been in a situation where one of the people I forgave, I saw them and I felt nothing other than peace. I didn't feel hatred. I didn't feel like I felt before. I actually felt okay. It's a really strange, I don't know how to fully explain it. All I know is it works and it helped me, and it's the one thing I never thought I'd be able to do. And I have no issues with still saying it. I forgive you for what you did. I forgive you for how you made me feel. I forgive you for how you treated me. I forgive you for the things that you said. It's so much easier now, and I don't have that hurt. I don't have that hatred inside me. I've passed it all over to God, because I know He will deal with it, and He has dealt with it for me, and it has made me such a better person for forgiving those people for what they did. That I will say, if you are struggling with, don't overthink it like I did. Talk to somebody who can explain and talk to you and read it in God's word about the forgiveness. And you can do it, and believe me, the relief that you will feel for yourself and giving everything over to God, your stresses, everything, I give it to you. I know and believe that you will sort it. I no longer want that stress of trying to deal with it. I'm giving it all to you, Jesus, and I'm going to let you deal with everything. And that is now how I deal with things, and I'm so much more happy. Me and Jason were talking, and I was saying to him how I felt, and he actually opened up to me and said, I didn't know how to tell you. I think we're both concerned about judgment. I didn't know how to tell you, but for a year, I've been talking to a friend who lives in America. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's a Christian. And I was like, oh, all right. And Jason opened up about everything, how he'd been feeling, how he felt God had been calling him since his dad had got poorly and unfortunately passed away last June. But this was before then. And it's like me and Jason were on our own paths, but bit by bit we became nearer to the same path. And on that holiday, he held my hand and just said, I want to give my life to Jesus. And it blew me away a little bit. Laura had said, could Chris message Jason? And I asked if that was okay, and they got in touch, and we got back off holiday, and literally I think it was about 4 or 5 days later that Jason gave his life. And it's just been the biggest transformation in my life ever, other than my children, the biggest transformation ever. Our lives have done a complete 360. We're so much more chilled. We embrace and love going to church, to Powerhouse on a Sunday. We absolutely love it. The people that we have met within Powerhouse are just wonderful. The whole setting of the church, the worship, the people, the fellowship is something I would never, ever have imagined. On the flip side, with Holy and Beloved, the way that the social side of that has come together is an amazing gift that I thought I'd never had, or have, sorry. I've got female friends that I was always scared to look at or talk to in my past because they would judge me, or I'd be that good friend for them, but then when I needed somebody, there was never anybody there. There was always judgment, there was always name calling, there was always talking about people behind each other's backs. And I can honestly say, in this amazing group of women, there is nothing other than encouragement, love for Jesus, support, comfort, no judgment, no backbiting, no criticising. We are just an amazing, God-loving group of women that have been brought together by, I believe, is one of the most special women in the world. And we genuinely love each other as a group. But not just the women, because our partners or husbands, they all get together and they have that as well. So not only do we have it on a women's side and a men's side, so they can talk and they can have that personal time with each other to discuss issues or to talk about God's word or anything, any other discussions that they want. We have that as a whole as well. As I said, me and Jason get married in 5 weeks, which I'm so excited about, because this journey that we've both had on our own has now come to this one narrow path of us together, where we will walk together following Jesus, learning from God's word, learning from the people around us, and living such a blessed, happy life. I've seen things happen already. Things like a lady paying for some of my food bill that I didn't even see this lady, let alone know who she was. Giving cake brought over to a table. Having the blessing of these people in our lives. We've just had a massive blessing of a new house. Jason had a promotion at work. I've got a better paid job. Our children are healthy, our grandchildren are healthy and loved. And all this is God. Nobody else. This is all from God and what He is blessing us with. And we will be forever and eternally grateful. So if you think that you believe in God, but you're not sure, and you think you're going to be judged, and you think people are going to laugh at you, so what? Listen to what God is saying to you, and listen to those signs that He's trying to help you, and He can help you. You've just got to let Him in. You've just got to... The big thing is, don't just believe it when you see it. Believe it before you see it, and believe everything in God's word, and He's there to help you and protect you and nourish you and help you in every way possible. So don't be scared to take that leap of faith. Don't worry about what other people are going to say. I still worry how I look sometimes. I think that's a woman thing as well. But this circle that I am now in, this, not just this huge group, I feel amazing every time I walk in to see Him. And that's through God. So just going back a little bit to the body dysmorphia and no confidence, not liking myself very much, not feeling like I was good enough to be loved or valued or worthy. Never felt good enough, which I think that leads on to why I looked for attention, like when I went out. But then if I got attention, I'd run a mile, because I didn't want the attention, but I just wanted for somebody to validate that, you know what, you're all right, you're not this ugly munter that I see in a mirror. You're nice, you're all right. So that was like a pattern that was in for me to feel wanted or whatever. But now, I might not like something I've got on or not if I look in the mirror, but I 100% know how worthy I am, how valued I am, how loved I am, how wanted I am, how accepted I am by Jesus. Jesus died on the cross for me, took all my sins away, which we're all going to do. We've all done. He thought I was worthy of it. He valued me enough to do that. So how could I not now feel the most loved, the most valued, and the most worthy that I've ever felt in my life? And yes, of course, I love Jason with all my heart, and I know he loves me. But God is the one that makes me feel worthy and valued every single day, and loved, not abandoned in any way, shape or form. That is so good to be able to say that. My name's Sarah, and I am loved, I am worthy, and I am valued in every single aspect of my life. And that is just amazing to say out loud. And as long as I've got God in my life, I know I've always got him to turn to, I've got him to talk to, I've got him to show me right from wrong, to teach me, to learn me lessons, and I can ask for no more. So that's my testimony. Hope to see you all soon.